there we are. We're live with just a minor delay.
We did it, guys. We did it.
We had some technical difficulties. I don't think that any of us are real. Well, I lie. Nolan,
I've never used this before, so I'm no expert.
Well, hopefully, because this is a different link, hopefully it's just going live on our pages and people can see it because they're probably not going to see it from before. But anywho, welcome everyone to a virtual Cider Happy Hour. I'm Kristen. This is Melissa. We are Cidercraft Magazine, and we've got Nolan of CiderScene, one of the twins. And unfortunately, Trevor had some work obligations, so he wasn't able to join. But if you just cross your eyes, you'll see double, and you'll pretend that you're seeing both of them at the same exact time.
I wear the fun shirts, though, so.
Oh, yeah, for sure. Love the shirts. Awesome. So what do you have in your glass tonight?
All right. For some reason, I picked two pie-based ciders.
You did?
So I have Blake's over here, the apple pie from Armada, Michigan. And then I have Mad Farmer, and this one's from Detroit. And it's a berry pie cider. So I don't know. I picked them randomly off the shelf. So.
I love their labels.
Yeah, for sure. I haven't tried this one before, but I've tried the apple pie. So from Blake. And
Cider Corpse does an apple or a pie based series as well. So don't put the light in there; it's too bright. Anyhow, we're so excited. We wanted to just kind of jump on. I hope everybody is able to log on. It was saying there was some sort of error with Facebook, so whatever. But we wanted just to kind of get together. We've got some really fun guests that are going to be joining us. And we have recently created a partnership with our friends at CiderScene. We originally met them, I think, in 2019 at CiderCon. And we had such a good vibe going. And we were like...
We had a great time.
Yeah, we really liked each other. And we were like, I love your enthusiasm. How do we work together? And so, if most people... cider is such a wonderful beverage and we're so enthusiastic about it. But, you guys have a full-time job. We have another publication and we just felt like, you're better together, So we have both very different audiences.
Sure.
We have Cidercraft. We have some pretty seasoned drinkers, cider drinkers. And you guys have always had that ethos of wanting to kind of reach the cider curious or the new cider drinkers.
Yeah, that's the perfect way of saying it too. The cider curious. I love when you guys use that expression. It's the perfect way to describe what we're trying to approach. It is true. Very much so. So yeah, no, it's a good synergy, ways to tap into both audiences, kind of expand our presence. Even just joining together expands our presence and gets our messages out there a little bit more. And in doing so, it's only going to help the cider industry. So, rising tides, I think the saying goes, of course.
I love it. Well, and if people don't know, Melissa and I are sisters. And then clearly,
if you saw two of us,
cross your eyes, you'll see both of them there. And Trevor and Nolan are identical twin brothers, and they are very identical. So it's fun. We're both family-owned businesses, and we're gonna do a lot of fun stuff together. We have lots of plans, as everything starts to open back up again. We do want to do some events together in person, virtual events. I'm so excited to have been working with Alan Shapiro of the Cider Summits and co-hosting their events, and they do such an amazing job. And I think, we're not trying to compete with you, Alan. I know you're right there. We want to just do some different things. And so we're just excited about what the future holds for us. And by the way, we are drinking Sea Cider Ruby Rose.
Some of the best.
It's hot here. So it's such a nice, refreshing cider. Drop in what you guys are drinking. We want to know and share with us. But why don't we bring on our first surprise guest?
Ooh, surprises.
Surprise! Okay. And here he is. The man, the myth, the legend. Oh, wait, Dave, you're on mute.
You can't be muted, Dave. I can't talk for you.
I keep
unmute. Right. There we go.
I always joke that my husband would love to have a mute button for me, but that just doesn't happen. Dave, we're so excited you to join us. We kind of just want to say hi, tell everybody hi. What have you got going on right now?
Oh, man. Well, we're in the middle of this heat wave and trying to not melt. But the funny thing is I think everyone's in the middle of summer right now, drinking summer ciders. But what we're doing in production is actually getting our fall and winter ciders ready. And so it's funny. I saw the pie-based ciders over there, and we're actually also, it seems to be a popular thing going into the fall. We're currently getting ready to do, this year's Hollow Jack, which is our fall pumpkin cider. And every year we put a twist. We put a twist. And this year's twist is actually going to be some Vermont maple syrup. Really pumped on that one, and some like heavy toast French oak. And then another thing we got coming out, a limited release that we haven't even announced yet, but we just finished formulation on, was it's going to be think of like a plum cobbler kind of thing. So it's going to be a high ABV, a lot of fresh plum juice from Washington, and then actually a little bit of Meyer lemon juice and allspice. And just to top it off, a little hibiscus too. And so I think of kind of like a plum cobbler type thing. But that plum and the spice really work well together for like a winter warmer kind of thing. So it's like 110 here right now. Winter beer, winter ciders, it's so funny. So
that is funny.
I don't think I've had many plum ciders either. I know it's not like such a foreign concept, but I just haven't had enough experience. So that sounds really exciting.
Yeah, I think plum's a little underrated, but it's just like such a nice fruit, general fruit flavor. And we're using a red plum, so it's going to have like a pink tint to it in the end, and we're really pumped on that one. The hibiscus and the Meyer lemon just give it a little bit of lift, just like in any berry pie or like whatever, you put a little lemon juice in to give it a little zip. And so that's kind of what's going on in our neck of the woods. And
you have to be feeling a little bit cooler with the lack of hair you have now. If most people knew Dave before, he's always had like
long hair,
back hair, and he, for a really good cause, he raised money and said if we get to this goal that he will cut his hair. And you look quite handsome, Dave.
Yeah, Dave, great cut.
Thank you so much. I appreciate it. It is the end of an era, kind of,
Hey, goes back.
And I'm on a Hood to Coast relay team. There's a big race every year in August where your relay team runs from Timberline Lodge to Seaside, Oregon. So we got a big crew together and we entered as a fundraising team. And so the team is raising $12,000 for the Providence Cancer Institute for like cancer research. And and so I just kind of put on Facebook like, all right, well, if we can raise a little bit of money here, I'll cut my hair off and post pics. And,
how many people were around when you did that?
Well, actually, you know what? It was kind of an intimate thing. It was just me and my barber from 10 years ago when I started growing my hair. I left his shop 10 years ago, and then like last week I walked back into his shop, was like, all right, time to cut it off. And he remembered me. I couldn't believe it. He remembered. He was like, oh yeah. And the shop hadn't changed. Barber shops, like, I think it hasn't changed since like 1969, to be honest. It's just the same like 3 chairs and same 3 magazines and everything.
Yeah, I'm surprised he's still open, getting customers every 10 years. It's going to be tough.
Yeah. Well, I used to go on the regular, and,
fair enough.
clean cut kind of guy, and then one day I just let it all go. So
fair enough.
I love it. Well, Dave, we do have a question here. I'm assuming this is for the plum.
Oh, yeah, jerkum. I've actually seen that around before a little bit, and I think technically you might say it's a type of jerkum, but my understanding is that those are more like specifically plum based, and I would say this is more cider based. Although there is a really ridiculous amount of plums in it compared to like say raspberry cider or something. So, you know, like, sure, you could say that. I think how technical you want to get there, though, you know, the base fermentation is like a Northwest blend of apples. And then, of course, there's a lot of other things, too, like the spice and the hibiscus and everything. But it's a good question. Yeah.
Awesome. Well, we just wanted you to pop in, Dave. We wanted to see that mug of yours. We love what you're doing. We always love to hear about like all the innovative flavors that you guys come out with. It's just so crazy. You guys are nuts. But it's like every time I think I'm like, oh, that's, you know, that's a little out there. Then I try it and it's just everything is so well balanced. So we go for
approachable. I appreciate you picking up on that, and I would expect no less from a Cidercraft magazine person. But yeah, you know, we do like, that's the thing, is we like the exciting flavors, but we do want to keep them balanced and drinkable, and you know, something that you'd have a pint of. So I'm like really like happy to hear you that you are experiencing that balance that we seek
every time. So
yeah.
Awesome. Well, thank you so much, Dave, and we'll see you soon, hopefully in person.
Right on. Yeah, I can't wait. Have a good one, Nolan, Melissa, Kristen. We'll see you all later.
Sounds good. Bye. See you later. Oh, that was fun. I mean, this is just going to be fun. We're going to have some random people coming in.
We're having a great time.
You're having a great time.
Yeah, I've always cut my hair short, except when I was 13, I had like 13-inch curly hair that like was crazy. That's the only time I ever grew it out, but it just grows into itself.
That's so great. Can you text her? Sorry. So again, with our technical difficulties, we have some other of our special guests that are trying to jump into here, but they need a new little code. So we're just working on that right away. Why don't we, I brought some icebreaker questions for you and Trevor.
Let's do it.
Let's just throw one of them out there. So obviously, like, you love cider. But like, what was the one cider that you had that like really kind of like changed your like thoughts about?
Yeah, for sure. CiderScene cider for sure was the precipice for CiderScene in a lot of ways. We were in Vermont. Trevor and I both ended up winning a contest. So we got flown out to Vermont to go to Woodchucks because they had a concert series and they were giving away free experiences. And I drank a lot of their stuff up to that point. But when I was there, we had brunch the day before we left, and I wanted to try some cider from the area because we didn't really get out. And they had CiderScene cider, and that definitely brought me into the world of craft cider for sure. And then living near, not in Chicago, but near, it was a kind of a growing market, right, for cider. And they had a lot of options. So I had Blake's, I had CiderScenes out there. I had several different options. So it really opened up the world for me. So I have to give a lot of credit there. And then let's see. I'm going to blank on, well, Miyabi was a cider, and I'm going to forget the name of the cider that makes it. And I talk about it all the time, which is terrible.
That's okay. We're still here. We're going to be here.
Yeah, well, okay. I'm typing it in just so okay. I'm not saying a one word wrong.
While you're doing that, I am going to bring on our next special guest, and who might that be? Hi.
Hello.
Ellen.
Good to see you guys. So
Good to see you guys too.
We have Elle, which is actually on the other side, and Will from Busky Cider. We're so happy you guys could join us.
Yeah, thanks for having us.
Yeah. I like the picture behind you guys. Is that vintage? What do we got back there?
So as a kid, I saw this basically getting thrown away from a store and bought it for like $5 from my parents, and they had it for a while, and then they were like, "We don't want this anymore." I was like, "I still kind of like it." So
it's got a story. I like it.
Center of our house.
Yeah.
Perfect. Awesome. Such a conversation piece.
Yeah.
It hasn't been a conversation piece before, but now it is.
Perfect. I'm bringing it to life.
Famous. It's now famous.
Yes.
Oh my gosh. So you guys, you guys are taking off and going to the airport to pick some people up after this, right?
Yeah.
Holiday weekend?
Yeah, so his brother and sister-in-law are coming into town, and so we're picking them up tonight, but we're actually going to be in Cape Charles this weekend. So their schedules got crazy, so they're going to stay at our house. We're going to have a big night, and then we'll be off to Cape Charles.
Cape Charles is the beach location that Busky has, and so it's hard to hire on the peninsula over there.
Sure.
And then we had a key team member move on to something else. So we're going out to manage the tasting room for 4th of July, which is bartending at the beach is not so bad. So
it does sound fun.
The 4th of July in Cape Charles is great. So we do red, white, and blue flights, both in Richmond and in Cape Charles. And it's one of their big holidays. They've got a parade down the street. I mean, people, it's super popular in the morning. So we think it's going to be a great weekend.
What are these? What are the red, white, and blue flights? I mean, is it actual color?
Mm-hmm. Yep. Yeah. So the white is more of just like the straw cider. So we don't do anything to make that more white. The red, over the years, the red has been a couple different things, but usually our tart cherry, which is what I'm drinking. And
I was gonna ask what you guys are drinking right now. Mm-hmm. Both the tart.
No, I'm drinking the Pina Colada. So it's our limited release. It just came out 2 weeks ago, I think. Something like that. We're really excited about it. We used some pretty fun ingredients.
Yeah.
Tell them about that.
Yeah, we partnered with a new well, they're not a new company, but they have a new product called their Chalaka. So it patented a new way to process coconut, and coconut is always horrible to work with. Because it soaks up cider, can't be filtered, soaks up a bunch of cider. We lost maybe 40% of our old pina colada batch, and people were like, it doesn't taste enough like coconut, which was a little heartbreaking. So we networked with the founder of this company, and it's a neat product, and it's a super high quality ingredients. And then the pineapple is a little more typical for how we using a puree.
Sure.
So it's a great cider, and we used rum chips this year.
What do you guys come? I mean, is it like semi-sweet, dry, or on the sweeter side?
Yeah, it's in the semi-sweet area. So a couple bricks residual sweetness, and so I mean we would consider that to be a sweeter cider, but obviously on a national scale that is definitely.
That's so fun. And I just put the little ticker up there because so people knew that you were in Richmond, Virginia, because we want them to come and visit you. Is your tasting room completely open now? Are you guys just rocking and rolling?
Yeah, I mean, we have recently re-added bar seating. I'd say at the moment it doesn't feel terribly different, but there are subtle changes that are still serious COVID precautions. So there are definitely less seats in house. Our team is still masking, even though we're not required to. And there's just in a variety. Some of our events, we've changed the way we do them to simplify things. So, but yeah, it's starting to feel normal-ish, and that's
normal-ish.
Good. Yeah.
Well, in comparing our tasting room from pre-COVID to now, things that didn't really have to do with COVID, I painted this big mural, Busky Cider in there. We've got a big back patio now, so we had really limited outdoor seating, so that's really exciting. And then
back patio might be overselling. It's very Richmond. It's in an alley, and it's.
Hey, that's fine. That's how it is in today's world, anyways, right? All those back patios that people had to create. It's got seating. It's got cover, maybe.
It does have a huge graffiti splotch in the back, which we're working on removing. It's really big. and it's really purple.
Richmond is full of talented artists, and we didn't get lucky with any of our alley people. So
just gotta hire them to do something for us.
Yeah.
Yeah. So we'll be doing.
I mean, you just get somebody that has some credibility in your area for tagging, and then they do it, and then nobody will mess with them. So,
and brings business in. It's perfect.
Yeah, you get kind of what you're looking for, but then you don't have the drama with everybody else. So
Yeah.
that's awesome. Cool. Well, I know that you guys have to get a run-in, but we are so glad to have you guys on, and we just want everybody follow Busky Cider. They're awesome. They're amazing. And I mean, we're only having amazing people on here. Anyway.
Naturally.
Sure.
One little, so CiderCon's going to be in Richmond in the spring. So we'll be here. We'd love to have everyone. So this is, CiderCon's always worth going to, but we're certainly going to show people a good time. Richmond has access to a lot of good cideries and a lot of interesting things in the city. So hopefully have really good attendance.
Yeah, Trevor and I should be able to make it too.
To see all of you guys.
Yeah, we'll definitely be there.
We're all going to be there, and we all know each other from CiderCon, which was one of my trivia questions. But anyway, no. Good. No, it's funny. I got lots more other questions. Yeah. Anyway, we're all good. Well, thank you guys.
Thank you guys.
It was
Cheers. Thanks for joining.
Pop in. Okay. Bring it.
Such a nice little group right there,
They're super sweet.
They're so nice.
So nice.
I always enjoy hanging out with Elle at CiderCon all the time. She's, those people where like you see them, but then you won't see other people, but like you see the one person like all the time, like just going in the hallway or in the elevator or at the bar. That is Elle. She is there. We run into each other probably 100 times. So
she's a mover and shaker. That's why she's she's pushing the product. She's getting out there. She's chatting.
I love it.
It's great.
Also, Scott. Oh, Scott's on. Hi, Scott Katzma. We love you. Of course. Look at Christine's in the. Oh, I can't say that. Yes. We're excited. We're all going to be at CiderCon. It's going to be wonderful. For sure. It's such a great event, and even if you're just interested in cider or doing some home cider making, you're going to learn so much stuff there. I'm going to go back to the cider that made me just like, what is this? Because like I said, we have another magazine, Sip Magazine, that's all beverages. And so cider, I was always kind of dipping my toes in it. But I had this Snowdrift Winter Red. It was called Winter's Red at the time.
Nice.
And it was the red flesh in a 750 ml. It was like one of the first ciders I ever had. And I was like, oh my gosh, this is like nothing I've ever had before. And then I got to visit them, and that when you visit a cidery, you know what I mean?
Oh, it's great. The energy is great. It feels good.
And it just solidifies like your loyalty and love for them. I mean, that's the whole thing. Is the cider community is just so awesome. I mean, get out there and just go visit as many as you possibly can, because they're just. Yeah. What about you, Melissa? What's your cider?
So
I know what it is actually.
Yeah.
That's a trivia question for you.
First cider that I actually liked was the Wandering Angus Bloom.
Okay, I've never had that.
Very long time ago, and I also love the Alpenfire Glow.
Yeah, Alpenfire. That's what I thought she was going to say. The Alpenfire Glow.
I've had that. Trevor's had that. We love everything they make. I mean, it's just one of the best.
Totally.
Yeah.
Well, I think we have another friend coming on, and I think this is a friend of yours, Nolan. Not that we don't know him, but
I see where you're headed.
This might be a special guest. Let's bring him on.
Is it Trevor O'Malley? I'm just kidding.
Surprise! There he is.
Oh, what's going on?
Hey, how are you all?
Doing well.
Yeah.
I'm going to throw this up there so that they know who you were with, Leaf Stevens. Just an awesome little cider company in Asheville, North Carolina.
Yeah, I've really got to plug Noble. I've had your stuff a lot when I lived down in Nashville, Tennessee, and then I definitely visited a couple times. And I I love everything you guys make, but that I went there and had a couple tea ciders, and those I still talk about the most. I think of sharing, your cider to people. I think I talk about that tea series you guys had quite a bit.
Yeah, we went through a bit of a tea kick for quite a while.
I was really into it though. Like I love hopped tea as well, so it just aligns with my my cider taste.
Sure. Yeah. And I heard you talking about CiderCon in Virginia next year. Really looking forward to that. Really missed seeing everyone this year. I mean, saw you virtually, but it would be nice to see people.
Not the same.
Not the same.
Yeah.
Go ahead.
Oh, sorry. I was just trying to remember, because I remember talking to somebody that said that they thought I had given them Corona at the last cider conference because they got it. But I mean, who knows? But that was back in February. That was right on the cusp of
the
totally.
everything.
So it wasn't me.
She had a clean bill of health, right?
Yeah. Totally.
So what's new with Noble? I mean, it's been a little bit since I've connected with you guys, but you're always making new stuff, and just excited to hear what you guys have in the works here.
Yeah, we've been busy. We have probably too many ciders, but we have a limited series that we do, and there's a different one every month, which keeps me busy. I guess the last couple were we did a strawberry basil, which we've done before, but strawberry is always kind of a difficult flavor, I think. We use only real fruit, no flavoring or anything. So strawberry is a strange flavor to try to capture because it's such a subtle fruit. A lot of times just the acid comes through and you don't really get that strawberry thing unless you add a flavoring of some sort. So that was a little nerve-wracking because I didn't know how it would come out, and it was a big batch, but it turned out really, really good.
Good to hear.
I think we put 300 or 400 pounds of strawberries in there and let that ferment. And then of course basil, adding that, making that come through. Anytime you add something like that, fresh herbs of any type, you run the risk of kind of getting a vegetal thing going
green,
on.
I call it the flavor of green. It's like you get that leafiness. So
we've got this big it's actually a hop rocket infuser thing, a big one, which we use for doing things like that, so we can kind of add that in and then not put it in the actual tank and kind of
a little infusion a bit, right?
It's just right. Yeah. So, which we also use to do. We have some spritzers that we do, and those I think are pretty different from a lot of, definitely very different from the seltzer and spritzer commercial mass ones, which are fermented sugar and then some sort of flavoring. We do a tea.
I was going to say, tell us about how you guys do the spritzes, because multiple people do these spritzes and they're all kind of made a little bit different.
Yeah, sorry, I lost you there for a second.
Oh, that's okay. I was just wondering how you guys make your spritzes, or because there's obviously that's like light cider, and these spritzes is kind of a new thing in the cider industry. And so what makes yours a spritz?
Yeah, I was really hesitant to do them at all because I really didn't want to do what other people were doing for.
No!
We keep losing him.
No!
But I will say, I believe last time I went there, I did try some of their spritzes, and they're definitely in the upper echelons from my perspective of cideries that are making those types of products for sure. And he's back.
Sorry, I'm at my grandmother's house in Wisconsin for her 95th.
I'm in Wisconsin too. I feel you. I feel you.
So yeah, not sure about the internet.
Happy birthday to her at 95. Yeah. Wow.
It's amazing.
So yeah, spritzers. So we make, when we decided to do it, we decided to use real ingredients. So we do like a lime and hibiscus. So we take lime peels and hibiscus flowers and we put them in this huge infuser we got. And basically kind of brew a giant cup of tea, essentially. And so, using real flavors, and then we sweeten it with apple juice.
Sure.
And the base is still the same cider that the other ciders with. So it's a nice, light, refreshing.
Leaf, will you please send us some of those spritzes?
He's present.
He's trying not. No, he's in that. You can't send him now.
Let it go. Can't believe I did that on there, but I was saying, maybe you could send Cidercraft magazine some of those spritzes.
Sure. Yeah.
Do you make a mean cup of tea as well? Just because you use it so much in cider making, do you love tea?
Well, I'm English, and I drink tea every day.
Okay, perfect.
So tea is kind of a thing in general, which is part of why we started doing all the tea things. We do an Earl Grey, and we do.
I had the chamomile, which was I'm trying to think of what else was in it. If you remember, I don't know if it's changed over time or anything.
It's sort of like an adult sleepy time.
And that's exactly the way it was described. It was fantastic, though. I really give props to your tea ciders for sure.
That's awesome. I'm just texting the StreamYard link again to another one of our guests that's looking for it. And Leaf, you're frozen again.
He's frozen in time.
He's frozen in
but forever in our hearts.
I moved to a different room. Maybe it will be, except my 5-year-old may run through here.
That's all right.
No worries.
He's bouncing in front of me on a bed.
That's fun.
And then you guys have a couple locations now, or did you guys just relocate in Asheville?
We do. So we had a restaurant which we opened shortly before COVID, which was not the best timing. Kind of a high-end restaurant in downtown Asheville, which closed, and we had to lay everyone off. But we reopened that space first as just a tap room, and now reopening soon with food again. So we have the downtown space, and we have our production space, which has a tap room. Eventually, another tap room opening. So, so we'll have 3 locations.
You gotta love Asheville, man. It's one of my favorite spots. I've vacationed to when I was living in Nashville, but definitely gonna be back sometime soon. Gotta have some of your cider in person as well. So great place to stop if anyone's looking for a vacation spot.
Yeah, we love what we do, and
you guys have gotten such great accolades from your local press and stuff. When I was starting to check you guys out, see what Noble was all about. You have a good amount of support from your local community, which is really awesome.
Yeah, we were kind of the first in our area to start doing cider, and it's just grown and grown and grown. Now there's quite a lot of cider, and it's really exciting. In general, the whole kind of industry is that way. There's just so many cideries now, and so much more good cider being made than when we first started.
Honestly, down in that part of the U.S., I think Asheville's definitely a cider must-stop city. There's several places that are purely cideries, and then there's a couple places that are breweries that make a cider, or like the Funkatorium out there. They have usually 1 cider or maybe 2 on tap. So, you can stop 5 or 6 places. You can visit one Noble location, then go to the other. There's options for you, and honestly, one of my favorite, experiences that I had. I went to Didalia as well, and just kind of took my little tour over there.
Yeah, and a bunch of us all have tap rooms in downtown Asheville now, so I think that's
even easier.
Kind of opening this year, really. So I think there's 4 cideries downtown, so a nice little cider crawl.
For sure.
Sweet.
Yeah. And congratulations on your
being one big happy
partnership.
family.
Yeah, of course. Just trying to spread the good word, right? Spread the gospel.
That's right. Yeah.
That's for sure.
Oh, and you guys do have. Someone mentioned that you have a great cider festival in Asheville. I've also went there. Had a great time. Got stung by a bee the minute I walked in.
Are you allergic?
I thought I was. I'm allergic to wasps, so I was like, "Oh no, is that a wasp or a bee?" And then I was like, "Okay, it's a bee. I'm feeling okay." And then the cider definitely helped as well. So
for sure.
Yeah, missing that. So I think that's happening again this year, hopefully.
I'll keep my pulse on it for sure.
Yeah. Yeah, and we have in North Carolina, we have a cider association that formed in the midst of COVID as well.
Oh my gosh.
So we finally managed to get that organized. So hopefully we'll be doing some more things in North Carolina.
Good to hear.
Honestly, it's kind of the best time to form an association. You actually have time
to do it.
Yeah, I mean, everybody's so busy normally with their tap rooms and all that stuff. Like, I mean, I would imagine that it was a better time to do it. So you just
it was a time for sure. It was a time.
Yeah, it was a time for sure.
And everyone getting used to meeting virtually, I think, has helped. Because it's hard to get a whole bunch of people together. Yeah. Sometimes, so doing this is a lot easier. You can even do it from your grandma's.
Happy birthday, Grandma! Should we just sing her happy birthday?
I don't think she can hear you.
In spirit, she'll know that we're singing it, right?
All right. Thank you so much, Lee, for joining us.
Thank you for having me.
Of course.
Yeah. And we will see you at CiderCon.
We will.
Yeah, I'll be there.
We'll make it happen.
Enjoy your family.
Thank you. Take care.
See you later.
Bye.
He's in Wisconsin, the great state of Wisconsin.
Gidon, if you can hear me, you have an email, just FYI. So there you go.
Just like reveal.
That's okay. I mean, maybe they don't know what's
It'll
going
happen so fast that they can't pick up on it. Right?
Let's ask another icebreaker question to Trevor. Trevor, if you were reincarnated as a cider maker or somebody in the cider industry, who would that be?
Wait, am I supposed to answer for Trevor?
No, Nolan, you answer. I don't think Trevor's gonna, you probably. Oh, sorry.
You said Trevor, but I could answer.
You're right. Sure. This gets real confusing with these identical twinsies. So
let's see. If you were reincarnated as a cider maker, who would you be?
Yeah.
Well, I think I'll answer in a little bit of a different way, and I'm going to answer for Trevor too. I think he would be a cider maker in Grand Rapids, Michigan. He loves the city. They have like a decent cider culture as well, and they continue to grow in that space as well. So I think we would probably pick a location in which we would just find a community and continue to build out the community. Kind of our approach with CiderScene is just bring in people that don't normally drink cider. Yeah. And I think he would probably open a place that's like half beer and half cider. And like Eris in Chicago, they have beer and cider. So then you can get pretty much the mixes, drinks that's a little bit of beer, a little bit of cider. And I think he'd do the exact same thing. So like Eris's model, but he'd put it in Grand Rapids. And I think it's just because he loves beer and cider equally. So, and when we went there, we had some mixes and they were fantastic. So like some berry cider with some like stout or darker beers. And then when you mix them together, really solid product. So that's what I'm going with.
Also, Beth said that's where we were this weekend. So many great cider places. Beth, it sounds like you're getting out there and traveling.
Beth, you're getting out more than I am. I don't know what to do.
No kidding.
You should be running a cider blog right now for me.
Yeah. Can you get out there and we'll give you our Instagram and WordPress account and everything. Yeah. Well, I'm going to answer before I bring our next guest because if I were reincarnated as a cider maker, I would be Christy Kistler from Finn River because I'm pretty sure that she is already enlightened and she is just here to make our planet better and love everything. And she is just an angel on earth. So, and they make some pretty damn fine ciders.
Yeah. I like your answer. I like the dichotomy between my answer and your answer.
Yeah.
It's still good. It's still good. I'm thinking about the experience for some reason.
Yeah,
so.
well, whatever. Well, let's bring on our next guest. I probably would have said her, but she's coming on. So, I get to see her in like a week, and I'm just losing my mind. Okay. Oh, she is just
hello.
Just the hi in the world.
Hi, I like the map too. I'm admiring everyone's like backdrop right now.
Well, I'm in a vacation home in Bend, and so this is not my map. Though my dog just heard me, and he's like, "Oh, we're live now. We're live." But before we go on, I want to say that I'm in Bend drinking Bend cider.
I love it.
Appropriate.
And if you haven't visited their tap room, it's amazing.
It is amazing.
So beautiful.
And Tammy is also just a wonderful human being too. Yeah, my goodness. Yeah. I just talked to her the other day.
So. I love their Mandarin juniper cider. Yeah.
What are you drinking? The acai mint?
Yes.
Yep.
Because of the owl. I even bought the shirt.
Oh my God. That's so fun.
Going all in. Go all in for sure.
All in.
That's awesome. One of my favorite dogs at the dock, because we're at our office on the dock right now, and he just walked by. I can't believe he didn't come in the office because our doors are open, and he just wants to come in here. And I love him too. He's an English. Oh, I don't know what he is. He's an English shepherd or something. He's really awesome. Anyway, you can't see him, so it doesn't matter. Christine, what's going on? I was so excited. I had your cider. I had the Bowman's single varietal Macintosh, but it was for Cider Summit, and I drank it during Cider Summit.
just drink it, get it done. Right?
It's so good.
It's one of my favorites.
But if people don't know, it's not just Bowman cider. Do I say Bowman's or Bowman's?
It's Bowman's, but Bowman's. That's okay.
We have a lot of Bowman's in my town from where I'm from, so I was like, is it different out west? I don't know.
No, I just don't say things properly. But we had one of your employees on, and we were talking about Bowman's is not just a cidery; it's like one of the biggest farms, like in Oregon. Like he told me during your guys' Harvest Fest, that you guys do, you have 100,000 people through in a weekend.
Yeah.
Like
crazy.
Holy cow. That's insane.
You know what else? We were just, if you watch Top Chef, they were at our place for Top Chef today or yesterday or whenever it is.
Oh, fun.
Really?
Wow.
Yeah.
I might have to go watch Top Chef now.
We'll have to.
That's amazing.
Yeah.
So you've got, tell us what you've got going on. Tell us what, some exciting, fun things.
So my family's been farming there since 1895. So 100 and some years. And so we have apples and pears and peaches and hazelnuts and walnuts and chestnuts and kiwi fruit. We have the oldest commercial kiwi grove in the U.S. that my grandpa planted, I don't know, in the 60s or something. And so we grow so many things. And the reason I got into cider making was because I had a cider at a bar and thought, hey, like we've been pressing apples my whole life. Why aren't we fermenting that? And so it was just this natural kind of thing. And then in the last 30 years, we've done this fresh market thing. My extended family, my aunt, uncle, and cousins, they do, the fruit stand, the vegetables that we grow there on the farm. We have a scratch bakery. We have a nursery where we sell plants and potted flowers and all kinds of so many things, a lot of things. And then we do our harvest festival, like Bobby was talking about, where it's the hayride and the pumpkin patch and the apple cannon and the zip line and the all things farming, like laser pumpkin tag or something like that.
I love it.
So fun.
And
when does that happen? Because it's in September, right?
It's in September. We kick it off with the Cider Festival weekend, September 25th and 26th. And it is
my birthday.
So much fun. I know. That's why we did that.
I knew it. Back in 1800s. Maybe I was a reincarnation at that point somewhere in your farm. So, oh my gosh, that's so awesome.
The kiwis, though, I guess just ignorance on my end. I didn't know you could grow. I mean, what is the climate for a kiwi? Are there different types of kiwis? Some that can grow? I don't know.
Yeah, it's native habitat. I suppose it's not ripe until November. So as long as it's getting that kind of warm September, October, that's when all the sugars kind of get built.
Sure.
And what's funny about it is that here we have the luxury of a huge kiwi grove, and I cannot figure out how to make a cider out of kiwi, which is
kiwi berries. I know Wildcraft does that.
And those are different, and I don't understand why or how they're.
I know.
I mean, I don't understand that.
Yeah, me either.
But we have kiwis, and they're impossible to press, and I kind of am allergic to them too. So
yeah, they give me that weird tingle in my the roof of my mouth or whatever.
Oh my gosh,
like a pineapple will do that.
First of all, I know a guy. He eats a kiwi whole, not with the all the stuff on it. Like
I need to take some Benadryl just hearing about that.
Yeah, that sounds horrible.
Christine, I have 2 kiwi vines at my house, and we're talking in Seattle. They are huge, very mature kiwis, but they are clearly 2 males or 2 females because they've never fruited.
No baby.
Yeah, so I'm like, I would love to talk to. I would like to figure out.
I just made a farm gesture. You don't know what that means.
You're gonna join the 2.
Mating.
We deal with that on the farm every day. We have goats.
Oh my gosh.
And chickens. All of it. Yeah.
Well, I want to come out soon.
You must for your birthday.
Of course, the festival, the synergy.
For you.
We have our best of competition during that exact same time, so it's a little bit crazy, but I get to see you next week. So it's like next or couple weeks, 2 weeks. So
yes.
That's awesome. Tell everybody, is there any what do you have new, like as far as like cider, like that you're really excited about that you guys are you're going to be releasing?
Well, I was going to talk about my my strawberry, but then that other guy did that, and then I was going to talk about my plum, and then that other guy
he stole that.
Haircut and all that. But actually, what I really want to talk about is that for us, the last year and a half has been about small batch ciders, because we had this huge backlog of our single varietal, which we, most of them ferment independently and then we blend, but then we just didn't blend them because we never have enough space in our tanks. But this opened up our schedule so much that we got to start blending our single varietal and fermenting our single varietal. And so we've done a whole series of single varietal, and you have the Macintosh, which I feel like I love Macintosh apples. I love the juice. I love the cider, and we got that one from Montana. And it's, to me, you can't drink that cider and not love cider. It's so lovely. It's so everything that you'd want it to be. But anyways, then we've also done a Porter's Perfection single varietal, and we've done an estate Gravenstein with graves that we grow in our orchards, and we fermented it in barrels, and so it's got this complexity and nuance from the barrels and a little bit of wildness, and so nice. And then we've got a Muscadet de Dieppe, which anybody who does the Northwest Cider Association's Cider Club is going to get that in this coming up thing. And that one has a lot of wine character, and it's just so beautifully French in that heavy, jammy kind of raisin notes. And then we've got a Marie Menard. And so anyways, that's what my joy has been in that.
How many different, or I guess you said that you are getting fruit from other places. Are you getting it from Lee in Montana? Lee out?
Yeah.
I love it. So how many different cider varieties do you guys have on your property?
On our property, we are growing 44 varieties.
44, wow.
Yeah. So we have total in all of our orchards, including some orchards that we just planted, because we just planted 500 Macintosh trees that we got that were from Ryle and Lee. And And so we have about probably 24 acres of apples, and maybe 5 of them are just cider fruit. And so that's very exciting for us. I had something else really great that I was going to say and I forgot it. But we also like make fresh juice that we sell in like gallon jugs at the store, like on the farm. And so we sell 50,000 gallons of fresh juice.
Jeez!
In a jug. Yeah.
Wow. That's amazing. I also now have to tell a story. I went to Yakima on a press.
Here we go.
Before I started Cidercraft, and we went and pressed our own organic apple juice and had them in, like, we had 4-gallon jugs, and I put them in the back of my car, and we came home, and I kind of might have forgotten about them in there. So about a week later, I mean, this is dead summer at this point. I mean, it's hot. So I pop open my trunk, and like literally thousands of fruit flies came out. The cider all exploded in the back of my car. It started fermenting on my like actual, like, you know, the carpet in my trunk. So I'm done. I'm going to leave it up to you guys to make that cider because I'm good.
That's pretty nasty, I'm sure.
It's pretty nasty.
That's real.
Awesome. Well, thank you so much, Christine. I can't wait to see you in a couple weeks. And you are an amazing, amazing human. And I mean, I might be one of those 100,000 people at some point to come over there to visit you. And I hope Nolan does too.
Hey, we'll try. We'll try to get across the country at some point. We're doing New York this summer, but you know, who knows about next year?
That's why we're joining forces.
We have to. You have to.
Because we can only handle so much. I mean, we're both very small teams. You know, we're all doing lots of things, but we're all very passionate about this industry, and like, you know, it works. So we're excited to be able to have more of a physical presence everywhere. So
100%.
Thank you for having me. Nice to meet you.
Nice to meet you too.
Okay. Oh my gosh. You know what? I honestly think we do this cider trivia at another time because we've got, I mean, first of all, we've got someone that first of all, we're going to be on for like another half an hour with him because he's, you know, but I mean, literally, let's do the cider trivia again. Like,
I'm good with that.
I think we should. I mean, that would just take a whole nother, you know, hour.
We can do this. We can get people, you know, thinking caps on in the future, right? They can prepare. Maybe throw in some like TV, like some kind of theme that people like. You know, if people like The Office, throw in some Office. If people like this,
I love it. Yes, and maybe we can even like do some sort of cider pack that like pairs with the trivia.
That's something that Trevor and I were also thinking about. It's like, what ciders pair with TV shows? So it's like we could do that. We could dress up. Trevor and I will dress up. You know.
I mean, if you're out there, just drop us a line. Let us know what you want. I mean, we are here at your disposal. By the way, I am now drinking Wild Craft's Rome Blush single varietal, and it is just ridiculous. It's got just a good amount of funk on it. You
guys have some beautiful, like the bottles out west are just, I mean, if you could get a lot of just these bottles and get people that drink wine to just try a lot of them, I'm sure like the community would just absolutely,
but I think that's the thing. It's like on the East Coast, there really wasn't cider bottles. There were wine bottles, and they still, majority of them still all package their stuff in 750 mils, like typical wine bottles. Yeah. So, I mean, I think, I don't know, it's just different, but
you know, you bring that to a party that people drink wine, you sneak it in there. They're just like, oh, this is fantastic. It tastes like wine, like several. Yeah.
Champagne.
Yeah.
All right. Well, we've got, and I'm dying because I'm going to bring him on, and this is so ridiculous right now because okay. What do we save the best for last, or just the craziest for last? So Bring him on.
Whoa, I'm up. Yeah, I'm up.
That's Kristen Bacon. Would you believe it? I mean,
Dude, I wish I had the voice you had. Like you were singing there, you were like sounding really good, by the way. So, and that was like 2 notes. It was 2 notes, and it was good. So,
well, we are so excited to have Gideon Cole with Original Sin Cider. He's probably one of the first real characters I met in cider, probably 7-8 years ago. I've had many fun nights out in Chicago with this gentleman. But let's just have a quick toast because he's the original OG. I mean, he's celebrating 25 years this year.
That's sad. Isn't that sad?
No, it's fantastic.
I was your toast, but let me say one thing that we got the West Coast, Seattle, we got Wisconsin, we got New York covered now. So that's a good part of the region of this country, right?
It is.
I think so.
I'm in the Midwest Strip.
Yeah, exactly. Like Wisconsin's got a burgeoning scene. Obviously, Michigan's amazing.
Yeah, Michigan.
But
is
like, what's the most amazing thing I think looking back on 25 years is like there was a time in this industry where if you named a cider, I didn't know it, I was in shock.
Right.
And now it's there's amazing ciders with cideries starting making really high quality ciders all over the place. It's really just hard to keep track of it. So yeah, it's really just kind of amazing the culture that's developed.
Yeah, it's good to see that because then sharing stories is like, oh, you're really a lot of discovery is always fun, right?
Yeah,
that's what people love about beer, and in cider now there's that world to discover a lot more. And I mean, you've seen it definitely more than I have, but it's cool to see new people pop up all over the place and need to have their stuff,
I think one thing is like, I don't know how the expression goes, but like the sum of the parts is greater than the whole or whatever it is. But like
I tried saying that the other day and I'm like, oh God, don't even.
No, like I mean the sum of the parts in this country is literally overwhelming. And the fact that like in this country where we're a burgeoning scene and people are trying to find their way, that we're influencing people all over the country all over the world is amazing. So but by the way, so I'm speaking from a 360 square foot apartment in New York City. So we got the background, it's like a Murphy bed. And I'm heading up to my little orchard in upstate where we grow 150 varieties tomorrow. And we have a huge crop. And actually, we're going to be giving away a lot of apples to people to make some really interesting varietals. So
awesome.
That's amazing. I mean, what made you 25 years ago, cider was so unheard of, I mean, it was like most people were just home brewing or you had like a few producers. Like why cider?
And I'm going to guess you're from New York then?
I am from New York. I grew up, around the city and then came to the city, right after college. Mm-hmm. It's probably like my story is very similar to, Nolan's story. Like you start by trying a cider and it's interesting and maybe it's not the best cider. And in those days, the best ciders weren't available. There's only very limited products. And very interestingly, in 1990, the first cider probably predates your existence.
I was born in 1990.
I'm a baby, by the way. Like,
not us.
Like, I in 1990 went to a bar in New York City, and a friend of mine introduced me. The only cider that was available was Woodpecker, and I had it, and I was like, "This is really good. It's a little too sweet, but it's really good." And then it was relatively hard to find in New York City, but you would. But and then there's a bunch of U.S. cideries that launched soon after that mimic Woodpecker to some extent. And the ciders, were all good, but they were a little sweet. Yeah. And then just eventually I went to a very famous bar called the Kettlefish, which is a bar that made famous by Bob Dylan in the Village. But I had a sweet cider. I was like, it makes no sense why someone is not making a drier cider, especially in New York City, where there's like an older market going to bars. Yeah. And I started getting access to upstate New York winery. I got access to a winery in upstate. And I started making mixes, and I just tried to introduce in New York City a drier cider. And that's how it kind of got going. So
cool. I mean, I just can't believe it's been 25 years. Like I'm just like,
scary.
Yeah, I'm surprised by that.
But can I say, like, it's been in many ways, like there were years which were like the first certain number of years were like brutal. It was basically like taking in the beginning when you went to bars and people didn't even know what cider was and why would cider sell in our bar? Like it went from that to being like an industry which was, which had a direction to to obviously becoming much more significant. But it's been awesome being part of it, and also like there's no element of this business which hasn't been like rewarding, whether it's like learning about agriculture and growing apples, whether it's meeting people in this industry. And it's obviously, as you guys know, made up of just an incredible eclectic, creative, intelligent, unique mix of people. Whether it's traveling the country and selling cider, like Nolan, I spent a shitload of time in Chicago early on, launching cider in Chicago, and like some of the sorry guys,
no, it's
some
okay.
like the best. Like there was this like when I was getting going, it was a part of the early part of the craft beer industry, and like I mean I don't know if you know the character. I can name some characters to you that you might know, but just like seeing those characters and these people that move the needle. Like I remember when like I mean I could even tell you the bar like Vanderbilt became big in. Like there's one bar where it was put on draft and people took notice and it became big, and it was because a beer lover took hold of that product and ran with it. And like it's just been it's been a really amazing experience. I cannot complain. And then on top of that, even going beyond this country, like taking a look at the world view as we do in CiderCon, with so many people from Canada coming in, so many people from England coming in, and it's really just a special community.
Yeah, I mean that's a good point too. Like in Canada, I'm seeing a really burgeoning like social movement there, right? For like social media and Canadian ciders is really growing, and it's interesting in Canada. It's just so spread out too, right? Like it's definitely like across the country. If you were to try and cover all Canadian cideries, you'd be all over the map, right?
I mean, I think there's like 500 in like Quebec alone or something. It's
so it's just nice to see them kind of embrace that next step, just like we are in the U.S. And
the same issue was us. Like I went there many years ago, and all there was Okanagan and growers cider. It's like the things that are happening here are happening elsewhere, where people are moving to much more sophisticated ciders. It's being done on a very like grassroots level, where someone takes hold, kind of has depth of knowledge, and makes a great product. And it's amazing. So
it's been certainly tough having the borders closed between here and BC, because I'm normally in BC at least like 5 times a year, and I'm just like missing my northern friends so much. But also just Lee, I mean, what time is it?
Lee's coming through. Lee's coming in hot.
It's tomorrow, I think. Yeah.
And actually in Japan, Lee, thank you, man. But in Japan now, there's such a selection of ciders, and also as Lee would probably attest, like the scene in Japan, partially, obviously, very significant because of him, is significant. So it's happening. It's happening everywhere. It's really pretty amazing.
Well, and I think that's the thing. It's like I always will go back to when several years ago when the owner of Angry Orchard was speaking, and he was saying, you guys, I know you all hate me, but you guys should love me because I've spent millions of dollars, on marketing, trying to get people to understand even what cider is. And he's like, I basically only keep my drinkers, my cider drinkers for 6 months, and then they move on to you guys because they get a more sophisticated palate. And I just love that because it's so true. It's like, I feel like when we started the magazine, there were so many misconceptions about cider. Oh, it's just sweet, it's this, it's that. And, we wanted to become really education based because even, I have to be honest, even myself, I was kind of like, oh, ciders, like this sweet, little thing. But you just have to expand your palate, like I did with Riesling.
Can I raise my hand and say something? All right. So let's get a couple things on that note. One is, Ryan, ultimate respect. He grew up in Wayne County, which is the largest apple producing region of New York. I think the second, maybe the first or second largest apple producing county in the country. Mm-hmm. And if you guys ever visit New York, you have to go to Wayne County. Wayne County is right outside of Rochester. And the history of Rochester when it comes to apple growing is so amazing. When it comes to nursery culture, drying fruit culture, cider culture, every aspect of this industry, it really starts there. And that's where he originates from. But I think that the element, that sort of the interesting thing recently is, as much as those guys played a role, for the very first time last quarter, the craft cideries, for the very first time, were over 50% of cider sales. So like it's the two towns, it's all these people that you guys know well who are taking hold of the mantle and running with it, and they're doing it, making up as just really first and foremost with knowledge and pushing out really wonderful products.
Yeah, I agree. I mean, it's the evolution of this beverage, and people really getting excited about it, and just seeking out so many different things.
Yeah, I recently had a good conversation. I'm not sure if I can announce when I've had a conversation with who, but either way, it was for a podcast. So we were talking about what the world of cider looks like and how it's going to continue to grow, and all those really fun questions. And the word I use the most was like synergy. I think it's kind of similar to why we joined up with Cidercraft. And it's having a united front, putting that message out there. You can't really, it's not that it happens a lot, but any internal arguments in the world of cider between old school cider making processes or adding adjuncts to your cider, adding any other fruit to your cider, just kind of have a united front, keep pushing forward, find ways to work cider into every space we can kind of conceivably put it in. Yeah. And, we definitely had a good conversation about that. But
and actually, I want to add to that note that, like, if you look at the Midwest cider, right? Mm-hmm. Like, if you talk about who's the Johnny Appleseed of American cider, like, there are so many significant figures in the Midwest. Obviously, Mike Beck is incredibly significant, right? Yep. And just a welcoming soul that brought people together. I remember going to Uncle John's early festivals, and he just wanted to bring as many people in as possible. Obviously, Glen Cap is incredibly important, and that was started by this Midwest culture, which was just something special about bringing everybody together. Obviously, the West Coast, you talk about James Con and Nick Gunn starting the first Cider Con. You talk about the East Coast, you got to talk about Steve Wood. And, like people, if you wanted to try to talk about one Johnny Appleseed, the great thing about this industry is there's been so many numerous ones. Yeah. Whether it's Virginia, and you talk about Chuck from Albemarle Cider Works, it just...
You almost have to break it down into regions.
You do.
You know what I mean? Because there is one of them in each section of the U.S., if not in Canada, obviously. Everywhere. Obviously.
I mean, advocacy, you have to have it, right? And you have to have those people in market really doing the work.
Yeah. And I think that's the thing is that we feature a lot of cideries in the magazine, and I know you do too, that aren't widely distributed at all. Mm-hmm. And I think that that's the thing. It's like we are a champion of everyone, the small, the mom and pop that started selling cider on the side of the road, and now they're starting to ferment their juice. And it's unfortunately some of the bigger magazines or New York, or I'm not even gonna throw that some larger newspapers. They get press releases. So it's like you have these cideries that have, big, PR companies that are able to facilitate and get the message out there, but they don't always know. And that's, I feel like what both of us, we all feel is that getting out there and finding those, true gems, hidden gems that are out there. That's that's really what we're wanting to do.
I'm going to ask you guys a question. I'm going to answer it first, but I'm going to ask you the question. And it's based on, Kristen, what you said about, when you visit a cidery, it's a very special occasion.
Yeah.
Is there one cidery you have not visited that you would want to visit? And actually, I'm going to lead. Sorry, that I'm going to. I've been drinking a little bit before the show. I'm going to say, actually, I would love to go to Left Field in Canada. That would be almost my number one. Because Kate.
We partied with Kate so many times.
Yeah, I mean, but she learned cider from Ross and Y, right? So she inculcated herself in English cider. She they make great ciders. Right? They make great ciders, right? And like I just want to like breathe in that culture. Plus, they have a beautiful orchard farm. They have an orchard with a huge ranch, and just culturally understanding what they're all about would be pretty amazing. So anyway, I'd be curious what you guys have to say.
I love that choice. Nolan, what would you say?
I mean, I have not been to, Washington or Oregon, so I hate to say one in particular. I just need to get up there. I just need to be there. Like this summer, I'm going to New York.
We're starting, New York, by the way.
We're starting in the Finger Lakes area, and then we're working our way all the way down to just like downtown New York. Like,
can I give you one in the Finger Lakes which you have to go to?
Okay, let's do it.
To me, there's a few. There's couple. I can name a couple. But Finger Lakes is very special. But one person that is incredibly special, as far as I'm concerned, is Ian Merwin with Black Diamond Cider. I don't know how well you guys know the cider.
Yeah, we've had it.
Have you had it? He's an ex-Cornell professor. He knows more about apples than anyone. He's involved in the Ithaca. If you go there, you have to go to Ithaca's farmers market. But like their orchard is pristine. Like he's an intellectual. He's a huge involvement in the New York cider scene. I saw him literally 20 years ago, and he would answer every time I called him. He would help me out. So, sorry, but he's like someone that's a very.
I'm putting on the list for sure.
Yeah,
well, I got my little document over here for our New York trip. So I'm just like, my brother Trevor is the one that's he travels for work a lot, so he's the one that puts our itinerary together. So I'm letting him kind of take the reins on that. But I have it on the list that he has over here.
When you guys party in New York, let me know. So
we'll let you know. We're gonna meet up with Cider Society and try and meet up with
those guys are awesome. Yeah,
so we are we definitely will be like in downtown New York for 2 days, but we'll kind of lay out our trip. So if people want to meet us anywhere, in New York, we'll be in several different parts of New York for a couple of days. So we'll definitely put that message out there for everybody. But you guys mentioned Alpenfire before. Trevor's gonna. Okay, he's not going to punch me because I'm going to remember. He went to Finn River and he got engaged at Finn River. He did. So if I had to go somewhere, I would want to see the place that Trevor got engaged at Finn River. And I know I liked it. I like their cider. And then Alpenfire, I was looking at the map. I was like, those are really close.
Yeah, they're
so
really close.
I think I'd have to hit Finn River and Alpenfire like at the same time since they're so close.
That's awesome. Well, mine would be Michel Jourdan.
Oh, that's what I was gonna say.
Tell us more. Like,
I am such a fan of him. He's been making cider and ice ciders for so long. It's like, it's one of those ciders that I like take to places of people that don't really know anything about.
The introductory cider,
like,
right?
What the hell is this? And like, even like our judges for Cidercraft, sometimes when they find out what it is, they're like, can you save me anything that he has said? It's so amazing. We actually have an article, a Q&A with him in the current issue of Cidercraft right now. But it's just one of those places that, but it's funny because BC and Canada alone, there's so many great places. I just like, let me over the border. I'm vaccinated. Come on.
Bring me that cider. Yeah.
Okay, guys, we have to get this wrapped up. I knew we were going to keep you on here for at least a half an hour or so because we love hanging out with you. Maybe we'll just have a happy hour with Original Sin at some point just to hang out because I know you have a lot of fans. So.
If only. It's good.
I think, and I also think Original Sin was in the first 10 ciders I had in my life. Original Sin was in that first 10.
Yeah, I appreciate it. I'm an old man, yo. What can I say? I'm gonna grab my cane. I got, as we do,
You don't look like you could even have a cidery that's 25 years old.
That's what I was thinking.
Can I talk about the happy hour happening after this in New York City? If anyone wants to go, I'm not kidding.
We're on our way. Awesome.
I remember you guys, by the way, we had a good time in that bar last cider. Remember last CiderCon? That was fun.
Yeah. The CiderCon before we got shut down.
Yeah.
So we always have a good time. Awesome. Well, thank you.
All right, be good, guys. Thank you so much for inviting me.
Of course. See you later.
Bye.
Wow. Come on. talk about trivia and it's like 6:30, you know, which is like what, 8:30 your time, 9:30 East Coast time. 8:30, yeah. Well, I think that we should probably wrap this up. This is not going on IGTV now that it's over an hour, but follow Cidercraft Mag and follow CiderScene, because we are going to have a lot of, you know, collaborative content. We're going to have our own content. There's something for everyone. And I think that's why we decided to do this. Right, Nolan?
Yeah, for sure. I mean, I'm going to use the word I used probably 1,000 times today. It's synergy. It's creating a better connection from West Coast to East Coast.
For sure.
Anytime we write an article, my brain obviously starts like East Coast and moves to the Midwest and goes West Coast. With us working together and partnering, whenever we write about something, it's just going to be a little bit more comprehensive. Anytime we're covering something, it's going to be more comprehensive. Just making sure that we're kind of speaking for all the voices out there and, you know, pushing Cider forward from the publication social side.
Absolutely. Well, we appreciate you being here. We missed Trevor, but that's okay. We're going to do this again. We have a trivia. Like I literally have like all of these slides for trivia, but we're just going too long, and we had just so many fun guests. So
we did, you know, and they all have great backdrops as well. So
awesome. Well, thank you so much, and thanks everyone for joining us, and we will see you soon.
Appreciate it, guys.